The White House posted a Tropic Thunder clip to hype up a war and got 37 million views and 100,000 likes. And then Ben Stiller, the actual director of that film, walked onto the internet, told them to take it down, called it a propaganda machine, and got 16 million views and 415,000 likes in a few hours. That's not a reply. That's a finishing move. That's a kind of public ratio that gets framed and put on a wall. And the best part is the White House didn't even respond. They just left the clip up, which is the online equivalent of getting called out in front of the whole school and just slowly turning back around and staring at the board like nothing happened. So let's talk about what actually went down here, because there's layers to this that are genuinely insane. The White House posted a clip from Tropic Thunder, the 2008 Hollywood comedy, on their official government account, captioned it "Justice the American Way" with the flag emoji and a fire emoji, and used it to hype the Iran airstrikes. 37 million views in a single day, which means more people watched a Tropic Thunder clip on the White House account than watched most actual Tropic Thunder promotional content when the movie actually came out. The government accidentally became the film's biggest marketing campaign 18 years after release. Now, if you haven't seen Tropic Thunder, and I say this with complete sincerity, you need to understand what movie they chose to do this with. Tropic Thunder is a satire. It is specifically a film that exists to make fun of Hollywood glamorizing war. The entire plot is about actors making a war movie who get dropped into a real conflict and cannot tell the difference between the film they're shooting and actual combat. The movie is literally a comedy about people who confuse war with entertainment. The White House used that movie to confuse war with entertainment. This is like using a documentary about the dangers of fire to announce that you just burned something down. The irony is so thick, you could serve it at Wendy's. And then Ben Stiller sees it. The man who wrote, directed, and starred in the film they just casually stole sees the leader of their Free World's official account using his movie as a war hype reel, and he types out one of the cleanest public callouts of the year. Quote, "Hey White House, please remove the Tropic Thunder clip. We never gave you permission and have no interest in being part of your propaganda machine. War is not a movie." End quote. 16 million views, 415,000 likes in just a few hours. For context, the White House had a full day's head start. The most powerful platform in American politics, a built-in audience of tens of millions of followers, and 37 million people still watched Ben Stiller hand them a note that said, "Take this down immediately." The engagement rate on his reply is not even close. He basically outperformed them on their own content using one paragraph and no production budget. That's efficiency. The copyright thing also needs to be said plainly because it keeps getting glossed over in the dunks. You cannot use someone else's copyrighted film footage without permission. That is not an opinion. That's not a technicality. That's the same rule that gets regular YouTube channels demonetized for using a 15-second song clip in a vlog. Content creators lose their entire revenue streams over copyright violations constantly. And the official White House account grabbed a Hollywood movie clip, slapped a flag emoji on it, and posted it to promote a military operation without asking anybody. Ben Stiller didn't just have the moral high ground here, he had the legal high ground too. The White House essentially posted the kind of content that gets a regular person a copyright strike and a strongly worded email from a lawyer. But here's the part that I actually can't stop thinking about. This is the second time in 1 week that the White House has done this. We already talked about the drone strike footage that looked exactly like a Call of Duty kill cam. That was real military footage edited to feel like a gaming highlight reel. This is them grabbing an actual Hollywood movie and using it as a hype video for an airstrike. They're running a content strategy for a war. There's somebody in the White House whose job it is to make military operations feel like the MCU, and that person has a salary. That person woke up that morning, looked at Tropic Thunder and said, "Yeah, that's the one." And it's working. In terms of raw numbers, 37 million views is not nothing. That is a massive audience consuming war content formatted exactly like entertainment. And there are 100,000 people who saw a fire emoji next to a movie clip used to promote airstrikes and hit the like button, which again is not an accident. This is content designed to produce exactly that response. Make it feel exciting, make it feel cinematic, make it feel like something you cheer for in a theater. Ben Stiller's last line is the thing that keeps landing. War is not a movie. And that is the most obvious sentence a human being has ever typed. That should not be a sentence that needed to be said in 2026. It should be somewhere between breathing and gravity on the list of things we've collectively agreed on. And yet, here we are watching the government of the United States run what is essentially a hype channel for military operations, and it took the director of a comedy about fake soldiers to stand up and say it. The clip is still up. They never took it down. They never responded to Stiller. They just kept going, which is exactly what happens in the movie, by the way. The people in charge keep running the operation regardless of who's telling them to stop. I don't think they've seen it.